Hi, I'm Sabrina Sundari, and I'm very glad you booked a session with me. Or if you're just watching this out of curiosity, please leave more questions. I'm happy to answer them. This is going to cover a few really common questions of how to have a really successful session. So the first one is managing your mind. The conscious mind, as we all know, is moving. Thoughts come and thoughts go. Even a monk sitting on a mountain for years still struggles with the moving mind. It's the nature of the mind. So when you're in a journey, your mind might wander. All you have to do is remember that you can always come back. You have the power to come back at any time. It's kind of like watching TV. If we're watching channel 6 and we suddenly turn to channel 7, channel 6 doesn't stop. It keeps continuing on. The show keeps continuing. We can switch back at any time and continue on with the show, continue on with the journey. So if your mind wanders, all you have to do is switch it back and rejoin me on the journey. And if you let me know, I can help guide you back. I can help take you deeper. So it's all about communication and being really compassionate and gentle with ourselves. The second thing is relax as the observer. So you don't need to re-experience anything that you've already experienced because you already have. So whether it's something that happened in this life or a previous life, you can watch it as an observer, almost like you're watching a movie. You don't need to feel or re-experience any physical pain, any discomfort. It's really safe to be curious and explore whatever you're seeing. But if you ever do feel uncomfortable and you do want to leave the scene, just let me know and I'll gently guide you away and you can go somewhere else. So the next thing is surrender. The key to a really successful session is just surrendering to it, letting the conscious mind have a rest and letting your subconscious step forward for a bit and take you on your journey. You can do this by envisioning yourself like a leaf floating on a river. You're the leaf, and the river is your higher self, your higher consciousness, your soul, or whatever is meaningful for you. So when you surrender as the leaf on the river, you just allow the river to take you wherever you need to go. You just trust the direction, you trust the current. That's surrender. The leaf doesn't say, I'm going to go right, I'm going to go left. This is what I want to see and do. Just surrendering takes you where you need to go. So surrender is the key. The next is to be curious. So our imagination is the bridge to our subconscious. The mind is the receiver to the subconscious. So it will use any sounds, images, scenes from movies, words, anything that we've experienced in this life becomes our library of our mind. So if something familiar comes up, you want to be curious about it. For example, if a scene from your childhood comes up, you want to say, oh, this is something I'm remembering that might be significant, or a scene from a movie, it might be significant. We never want to shut it down or pass judgment about what's coming up. We never want to say, oh, why is my mind coming up with this crazy thought? We just want to stay curious and say, why is this particular image or memory coming up? What could it mean for me now? So tell me whatever comes up and let's be curious about it. Everything is a message from the subconscious. I'll tell you a brief story about one of my clients who kept getting interrupted by seeing a horse's butt. And she could have gotten frustrated and said, oh, I keep seeing this horse's butt and it keeps interrupting my journey. And she could have, spiraled out of and, really had a negative experience, but instead she was curious. And she told me about it and we investigated it. And it turned out her mind just wanted her to go into this past life where she was a cowboy riding a horse. And in front of her, the person in front of her was riding a horse. And so the view was a horse's butt. And so we went into this beautiful life where there was a village scene and there was a beautiful completion of an energetic pattern in her life because she was curious. So stay curious and stay open. Speaking of being open, there are many different ways that information might be given to you during a session. Feeling, knowing, sensing, hearing, seeing, or just feeling an emotion. Your very first impression will always be accurate. And you don't want to be pressured to see something, like I'm not seeing something, I must be doing something wrong. Information comes in through all of the senses. For me, I'm more of a feeling sense. I have to have a lot of body sensations. I have a lot of inner knowing. That's how I receive information. So be open to however you receive information more strongly. Getting an inner knowing is actually amazing because it's instant. Instead of having to decipher a larger picture or a larger scene. So I love the way I receive information, and I want you to be really curious about how you receive information as well. I had one client who just saw black. And again, instead of getting frustrated, they were curious and they told me, I'm just seeing black. I don't see anything, I just see black. And it turned out when we were curious and investigated further, we found that they were just wearing a blindfold in that life. So they removed the blindfold in that scene and suddenly everything became very clear. So again, everything that is shown to you is meaningful. Be curious, suspend your belief and trust your very first impression and exist within curiosity and wonder. Befriend your ego. So ego is part of us, and its role is to keep us individuated, give us confidence, give us personality, right? It's the ego is what makes us stand up for ourselves. So the ego has a lot of good traits, but we all know the ego can be extreme and have a lot of negative traits, right? It's all about managing your ego. So your ego might try to interfere in the session. And when it does this because its job is also to keep you safe. And keeping you safe means keeping you the same. When you're the same, it knows exactly what you're going to do predictably. For example, it knows your addictive behavior, it knows your patterns. That's safe, right? As soon as we start to change, it goes, oh, I don't know who this person is. I can't control them anymore. I can't keep them safe. So, and believe it or not, even addictions are a way to keep people safe in a way. So anyway, when your ego tries to interfere, we want to just, treat it like a friend, treat it with love. It's a part of ourselves. So instead of like berating it or berating ourselves, you want to treat it like a little kid who needs a little nurturing. Imagine just soothing it and explain that you're trying to do this for your highest good, for both of you. And all you can say is, I'm in this moment, I please ask that you just step aside. I'm trying to heal for both of us. You can imagine it as a voice getting smaller and smaller, moving to the left side of your head. There's a lot of techniques that I have here. So just tell me what you're experiencing. Tell me anything that comes up and we can work through it. The ego might say, why are you doing this? Or this isn't working, or you're wasting your time. And remember, that is a part of you that is just trying to keep you small and keep you safe. So we're going to work with it if it comes up, right? So always gentle, open, and just curious. So welcoming all your parts. Your whole self is welcome here. That means all of your emotions are welcome here to show up and release. So if you feel the need to cry, or even like a small tingling of wanting to cry, please cry. This is a safe space that I create. Tears are healing. We want to release frozen emotions in the body and let them flow and release to be healed. It's almost like when an emotion is trapped in our body, it's like ice, right? Maybe you can even feel like a frozen piece of our tissue, like a frozen shoulder, frozen emotions. So when frozen ice melts, it comes out as water, comes out as tears, right? So I celebrate when people cry, and almost everybody cries, and it's so beautiful. So we want to just let the tears flow. Don't worry about wiping them away, because it's like healing medicine, right? Let everything out. This is your time that you've invested. So use it to let everything out, and you're going to feel so much lighter. Everything is confidential. I won't talk about what comes up here with anybody or even with yourself outside of the time and space that we've booked. So there's no judgment. There's only curiosity and healing. So this session is for you. It's your experience. And if you want to keep something to yourself, please do. Share with me what you'd like, knowing that the more you share, the deeper I can guide you into that particular experience. The session is also going to be recorded and shared with you. So speaking out loud, what you see and what you experience will help you recall your insights when you listen to the recording later. This is a sacred journey, and your experience will be kept completely confidential. So you're very safe with me. You can do this. All hypnosis is self-hypnosis, and we enter into this state almost every day. when you're watching TV or driving, you're on autopilot doing the dishes, you lose time, right? You're in the flow state. So just remember, you have been in this state before. You know, this isn't mind control. I'm not able to do anything that you wouldn't make you do anything you wouldn't do in your normal life. I don't make you do anything, right? I'm just a curious guide asking you gentle questions so you can explore yourself more deeply, resolve your patterns, resolve issues, get an energetic completion of situations. And I really want to emphasize that you're going to be conscious and aware of what's going on. So you're not going to be out of control in any way. You can come out of it anytime you want. You can express that you want to come out of it at any time you want. You are the master of your journey. You're the master of your healing. So again, I'm Sabrina Sundari, and I'm very excited to work with you if you've booked with me. And if you're curious at all, my information is below. You can email me at sabrina@theintegrationpath.com with any additional questions. I'd love to answer them for you. Have a beautiful rest of your experience.